I went to a Quaker high school in Pennsylvania back in the early 1970s, and I'm sure that's where my interest in community service began. We were all expected to volunteer, and I discovered early on how much more I got out of that work than I seemed to be putting into it. I also learned about how powerful it can be to make decisions the way Quakers do, by consensus. Although it usually took much longer to reach decisions this way than by voting, we were almost always closer together after delving into all perspectives and compromising. I was surprised to find that I derived real spiritual joy from this process. My service spirit went dormant for a few years as I went to college and graduate school. Focusing so intensely on my studies and myself was luxurious and stimulating, but I really missed working with other people to make positive changes. As I left school and started my first jobs as an editor in Durham, North Carolina, and then Knoxville, Tennessee, several close friends were getting involved with the Central America Solidarity Movement. We organized conferences and press events to raise awareness about the role of the U.S. in the wars in Nicaragua and El Salvador. During my 2 years in Tennessee, I also learned a bit about community organizing at Highlander Research and Education Center, which is a place near Knoxville where people from many different movements and backgrounds come together to share their stories and get rejuvenated by other people with similar struggles. It was at Highlander that I had my first glimmer of awareness that, as open-minded and caring as I tried to be, I had huge blind spots about working with diverse groups of people. My husband, who worked at Highlander, was talking one day about whether or not the center should add paved walkways to connect its hillside buildings so that people in wheelchairs would be able to move around easily on their own. I'm really embarrassed to remember that I actually said to my husband, "I've never seen anyone here in a wheelchair. Why in the world would you need paved walkways?" My husband and I moved to Silver Spring 23 years ago because we wanted to live in a lively, diverse community. Almost right away, I got involved in our kids' schools. More than 30 languages were spoken in our elementary school, and many of the parents were recent immigrants who didn't speak any English. I noticed right away that the PTA leadership was almost all white. This really bothered me and several other parents, so we began to talk about how we could make meetings more welcoming. We bumbled along with flyers translated into Spanish and sometimes Amharic and French. But leaflets only go so far, so we tried having parent meetings on Saturdays and providing transportation and free pizza. These often worked, but not consistently year in and year out. When my 3 sons were finally all in school, I met Frankie Blackburn, another parent as concerned as I was. She was starting to create an organization to find and nurture local leaders from all different backgrounds. She invited me to join the pilot program, and it changed my life. Not only did I have the chance to focus on myself a bit as a leader, something I'd never taken the time to do, but I started to peel away assumptions and deep layers of ignorance, just like I had at Highlander. In the leadership program, I met amazing people. Together, we created resources to help new families get oriented to our school system. Much more importantly, though, we became friends. I looked forward to coming to our workshops and meetings because I'd get to see Beatrice and Lily. This leadership program soon morphed into Impact Silver Spring. Thanks to Impact, I've become a more effective organizer and activist, one person at a time, one new friend at a time, one t-shirt at a time.